Hello and welcome back to Cool and Chronic with me, Simone. I am joined by the beautiful Jess today, who is an old client of mine. She's 32 years of age. She works in special needs higher level teaching assistant. So she works with the disabled community daily. She's also a devoted mom of two young, beautiful little girls. And with all that, she has her own balloon and events business. You've got it all going on, Jess. Don't take it lightly.
So much, no.
But you are an inspiration to everyone around you, and I know that, as I've known you very well for a long time.
Oh,
but you did have a very hard pregnancy with both of your pregnancies.
Yeah.
You had a condition which I can't say, but you'll dive into it, called HG, and we're going to raise awareness about that today and kind of get there's a bit of a preconception and things with the condition as well. We're going to dive into it, the taboo and everything. But let's get started. Thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for asking me.
And if you could tell us a little bit about you, your work in the special needs education and your beautiful family, that would be amazing.
Well, I've worked in special educational needs for the last 10 years plus. Wow. I worked at a school for 10 years, and then the past 4 years I've been at the White Forest Special Educational Needs School in Kidderminster. And I just love it. Like, I used to work in nurseries, and there was a few children that started that had additional needs. Yeah. And they were in my care group, and I just sort of thought, well, I can look after them, but I don't know what they need. So I did a course in special education, and then I just fell in love with it, really, and I've just done it ever since, yeah.
So amazing, because I know, like, when I used to PT Jess, obviously, and she's such a hard worker in the gym, outside, everything, but you were always, am I right in saying that you've always been doing courses to better educate yourself in this
so I did my HLTA, which is like a higher level teacher, because I was just qualified as a TA. And I wanted to be a teacher, but because I had Penny, who's my daughter, she's 7, it was just, I didn't know how I was going to get the course working. And a lot of my friends through work and stuff as well, they are teachers, and I saw the amount of work they had to deal with, and I just thought, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that, but I wanted to further my career. So I did a higher level teacher assistant, which is like one below a teacher kind of thing. So
how long does, if you don't mind me asking, how long does that qualification take to get, and the work?
It took me the best part of a year to do it. Yeah, so a lot of it was practical, a lot of it was like essays, and then it was collecting evidence of what you do, you know, at work and in the workplace and stuff. So it did take me a while, and it was hard having to work all day and then have Penny, and then so I couldn't do my coursework until she'd gone to bed. So I knew it would be worth it, but it was long-winded.
And anyone listening to this, like you've just said, of course you wanted to be a teacher and wanted to go into that, but it isn't possible. You are now a mom of 2.
Yeah.
So you've got a 7-year-old, and how old's your littlest?
Lainey's 4 months.
And you look incredible. I can't even get over you. You're amazing.
Just running around after 2 kids.
I can imagine. And honestly, you're like, so you do that, and also alongside that, you've been doing your balloons business.
Yeah, so I just did it for like friends and family to start with. Like, whenever anybody did have a party, I got like quite good at it. And they were like, oh, will you do me an arch, or will you do me this? And like, it was Lydia, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, who kept saying, oh, you should do this properly, like, just do it. And I thought, you know, I just kept saying, oh, I will one day. And I just thought, well, if not now, like, when? So I just did it and made an Instagram, and and it just went from there. And it's took off quite well, to be fair. I've got quite a lot of bookings for this year, and I've just self-taught. Like, I haven't been on any courses or anything. I just learned through YouTube and things like that. And yeah, I've got quite good at it now.
And you know what? That's such an inspiration for, like, because you're obviously, are you on maternity?
I'm on maternity now till January.
So we know maternity pay is not good in the UK.
Not the one, no.
Yeah, it's not the one. So for you, like, you're an inspiration for, like, moms. That is something that you've kind of found a niche, really, that you found that you're actually good at. Who would know you're good at, like, balloons unless you try?
No, I just sort of, like I said, just started doing it for friends and family. Then I thought, oh, I'm all right at this, to be fair. And then the more I did it, the better. You know, I just kept watching tips on like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, and just built it up from there, really. Yeah.
And what is your Instagram for anyone listening who wants?
So it's Harley Low Balloon Co.
There we go. Oh, it sounds so pretty. It rhymes. Harley Low Balloon Co. I love that. But you know what? I feel like if you can do that, you are. I mean, you are a super mom, really. Getting on with
I
all.
try my best. I think everyone just tries the best.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, that's like a lot. That's a lot, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Going
it
like
is some days, especially when I was doing it when I was pregnant as well, and because I was so ill. And there was just some opportunities that I just couldn't like pass by. Like Boo Avenue asked me to collaborate and do balloons for an event for them, and I was literally about a week away from giving birth, and it was really hard. I had to do it solo because sometimes Lee, if he's off on a weekend, he would help me, but he
yes.
wasn't. I was like, I can't pass it up because it's too much of a good opportunity. So
That
yeah, that was hard, but I just kept going.
Jess, that's amazing though. So you're doing for like you're working with big brands and stuff like that. Go
Yeah,
you like
thank
that's a
you.
pretty pinnacle of your career. And as we are going to dive into something that obviously I call it HG because I was saying to Jess I can't actually say the condition, but Jess has been really unfortunate with both of her pregnancies to have what is the condition, Jess?
Hyperemesis gravidarum.
Yes, there we go. If she could say it. And for our listeners who have never heard of that, would you mind just explaining kind of what the condition is? Yeah, what the condition is. We'll go
It's
from there.
basically intense sickness throughout your whole pregnancy. There's a massive misconception with it because a lot of people think that obviously because you get morning sickness and there is sickness comes part and parcel with a lot of people's pregnancies. It's not taken as seriously as what it is, and it's really debilitating, and it's just the constant sickness for 9 months straight. Yeah.
And of course, with that, because obviously I've got Jess on social media, of course, but I saw that with your recent pregnancy, Lainey, you were in and out of hospital so much. And
Yeah.
so, so when so let's go back to your first pregnancy, you're
Yeah.
27 at the age, 27 with Penny. And how did you and the doctors, how did they figure out that it was HG and not just morning sickness? Like, where do you go?
Well, it was sort of I was really poorly to start with, and only a couple of because I was a lot younger. Only a few of my friends had babies and stuff, so I didn't really. I just knew from what you hear generically about pregnancies that you get sickness and stuff. So when it started that way, that's just all I thought it was, and it just became more and more debilitating. I was like, this can't be normal because it gets to the point where you can't keep water down, and obviously that's dangerous. And
Very
then you're worried
dangerous.
about the baby. And I went to the doctors a couple of times, and with my first pregnancy, it was fobbed off a fair few times. And then I got to the point where I was passing out because I couldn't keep water down. So then I was taken into hospital and put on a drip. And then with Penny, I had to go in. I wasn't in as much because, again, I don't think it was taken as seriously as it was the second time round.
Yeah.
But I did have to go into hospital a fair few times with Penny to be put on a drip and things like that as well. Then,
Because, I mean, the only thing like I can liken it to, and probably the listeners, is when you've had a bug, sickness, and diarrhea,
yeah,
and that only lasts for 2 days
I think
most of the
the
time.
hard part is with HG. It's like you say, when you've got a bug or you've got like a stomach, when you're sick, you sort of have that relief feeling. Like I think feeling sick is just horrendous anyway. It's one of the worst feelings.
It
But
is.
then when you can physically be sick, 9 times out of 10 when it's a bug or something, you have that relief and you're like, oh, okay, I feel a bit better now. Whereas
Yes.
with HG, you never get that. And my partner Lee, he kept saying that to me. He was like, I just feel for you because because like he hates being sick,
Yeah.
and he was like the only thing that ever gets you through is the relief of after you've been sick. But I've just never had that. It's just the constant nausea all the time.
Really, and
Yeah,
people don't. It's actually like it's disabling. I know,
it
like you
is.
were. It is completely disabling because like if you can't get because I'm thinking if you feel sick I do with a migraine you feel terrible, right? You
Yeah,
don't want to move, because you might get in that position where
can't.
yeah.
No.
So what did your so when you've had Penny after having Penny obviously it resolves, doesn't it, out of
Yeah.
pregnancy, but that's mad, isn't it?
It's
Like
crazy because it's honestly, as soon as they're out, it goes. It's like that. It goes.
that's the relief that you've been waiting
Yeah,
for.
yeah,
9 months though,
yeah.
Jess.
It's a
Horrible.
long
Like,
time, and it's really hard because people try and be there for you, and they're like, "Oh no, it's not. It's not long to go now." I'm like, it doesn't seem long for you, but months and months when you feel like this all day, every day, you feel like your pregnancy is an eternity. You feel like it's just never coming to an end. It's really hard.
And how, if you don't mind me tapping into this, we're quite open with the mental health, but
Yeah, of
how
course.
does it affect your mental health going through that?
It's really hard and it's really isolating. Like, even though I've got an amazing village around me, like my family and my friends are just amazing. But it's one of those things, and I'm sure you can, agree with that, your condition. Unless you've been through it yourself, you can't fully understand what it's like, and you don't fully understand. So people do try and be there for you, and it's appreciated so much, but you do feel really isolated. And the second time round, I actually took to TikTok with it because I didn't know anybody that had been through it personally or anything.
No.
And I made a video about it, and it had 58,000 views, and it had over 400 comments on it. And I'm not a big TikTok person. Like, I've only just reached 1,000 followers the other day. So I never get like major views or anything, and yet it had 58,000 views and over 400 comments of all these different women from all around the world, like America, Germany, everything, like everywhere, that have been through HG, and they were all like commenting and telling their stories and how much it really does affect people. Because I would never judge anybody for anything, but some people, this is how debilitating it is. Some women have ended their pregnancies because of it, because they just physically could not cope with how draining and how horrible it is.
Well, because I did a bit of research listening for you, I actually have seen that. And to be honest, if you are that poorly as a mom, I actually agree with what you're saying. The reason why I wanted Jess on is because I feel like it's not a condition that's talked about a lot.
No.
And I think because it is only in your pregnancy, it's also, as you just said, you didn't know before, Penny, that you were going to have HG.
I'd never heard of it before. Like, I'd know about morning sickness, but hyperemesis was something I'd never heard of. I knew absolutely nothing about. Like, yeah.
And then to have, but obviously, if anyone has TikTok, they can follow Jess. What's your TikTok, Jess?
It's Jess Harley Low.
There we go. Because it's all about, and I've always been a bit scared to share my journey as well. I shake and whatever, I always get scared. But I think what we're doing and what you've done is you're raising awareness in conditions that no one knows about. And due to have 400 people that commented on your post that have had it, and that, I mean, what is so that you get diagnosed, and then what do the doctors do to help you?
So the first time round, like I said, it was very different. Like, it took a long time to get any kind of sickness medication. And then when I did get some sickness medication, it was basically the same sort of thing you use for travel sickness. And that just really wasn't doing anything at all. And there's a lot of other things that like coincide with it. So with my first pregnancy, I ended up getting a PE, which is a blood clot on my lung. And that is linked to HG. It's directly linked to it as an added risk, because pregnancy itself, you already have a higher rise risk of blood clots.
Yes.
But blood clots can be directly linked to HG as well, because of the severe dehydration and how much your mobility is reduced. And I'd had really bad chest pains in my first pregnancy, and I went in with that. But I was on a lot of other things at the time, like high blood pressure medication. And the first doctors, obviously, when you're in hospital, they change the doctors over daily and things. The first doctor that I saw put me, listened to what I said and how I felt, and he put me forward to have a scan on my lungs. And then for the next day. And then the doctor that came on the next day said to me, he was like, I'm 99% sure that what you're experiencing is just a reaction to your blood pressure medication. He said, if I had seen you yesterday, I wouldn't have put you forward for this scan, because I really don't think it's necessary and it's a waste of resources. But you've been put forward for it now, so I will send you for it. And I had 3 clots on my lungs. So if the doctor that saw me the second day had seen me the first day, I wouldn't be here now to have a second child, because I wouldn't have survived.
Oh my God. Do you know what? I've heard, like, that's actually like a horror story. Sorry, Jess. I know you've lived it. I know that you've lived that, but that is terrible. Like, because then this is what's so important with illness or anything. You have to advocate for yourself, and I bet you were that
I knew
tired.
something wasn't right.
And were you advocating? Did you keep pushing it? You
Yeah,
just
I
knew.
kept pushing, and luckily, like I said, it was the specific doctor. Like I owe that doctor my life, because
Yeah,
if the one that saw me the second day had seen me on the first day, I wouldn't be here.
that is so bad, and
It's life ending.
it literally, and to
Yeah,
have not just one clot, three. That
yeah,
is. So
yeah.
what did they do for that? Is it an
So I went
injection?
on blood thinners, so I had to do daily injections in my stomach for the rest of my pregnancy, and then for 6 months afterwards. And then when I was pregnant with Lainey, so they did tell me prior to me having Lainey, they're like, if you ever have another baby, as soon as you're pregnant, we'll have to put you on blood thinners from the start of your pregnancy throughout. So as soon as I found out I was pregnant with Lainey, I was on thinners. So I was on daily injections for 9 months, and then for 6 months afterwards as well, to prevent them. But then I still ended up having a clot um, in my labour, because I had to have a C-section because,
Oh no!
again, because of HD. So I was so weak. I'd lost nearly 2 stone in weight while
From
I
the
was pregnant.
pregnancy.
Yeah.
Dangerous, isn't
And
it?
because I was so weak, I was like, well, I really don't think I'm going to be able to push this baby out naturally. So I
Because
had a C-section.
you haven't
No.
got like your vitamins, is
Vitamins, minerals, nothing. There
minerals.
was literally like nothing. And
Oh,
obviously, because I'd lost a lot of muscle mass as well, and because I just you don't move, like your mobility's so limited. Like I spent so many days in the hospital bed,
oh,
and in my own bed at home, so that when I had my C-section, I had complications and I had to go back in for emergency surgery then, because I had clots again both times. So
oh
even though I
no!
used the thinners, because of the HG, that was a direct link, and it happened again.
And I didn't know that. That's news to me, because you wouldn't think, oh, you've. But actually, it's so right, because you can't physically move, because everyone listening has got to have felt sick in their
Yeah,
lifetime. All you want to do is curl up in a ball and not move.
yeah,
Can't move because you're going to vomit, whereas you are actually being sick. So you're losing the vitamins, you're losing the minerals, you don't have the energy, and
yeah,
that's shocking. You lost 2 stone.
yeah.
That's like, it's unheard of, isn't it? When you're in
Yeah,
pregnancy, it's unhealthy, isn't it?
yeah,
So
because obviously they say like you're eating for two, even though that's not a real thing. But
yeah,
yeah, and I just couldn't. There was nothing. I couldn't keep water down, and when I could eat, the only thing I could keep down was like fruit, which there's not a lot of calories in that, really, is there?
no,
Um,
not at all.
and then towards the end, like I managed like a few things here and there, but it was nothing of like only in like fleeting moments could I ever eat anything that was like substantial, really.
And that's so, like you just said, you're growing a tiny human in you,
Yeah.
and both girls are healthy and
Yes, they're
amazing.
both amazing.
Yeah, and you've done, like, because you almost think your body is going through this hell, but you have produced these beautiful children.
Yeah.
But you know, when you knew you're pregnant with Lainey, this is Jess' second daughter. Did how did you mentally prepare for that?
I
If you don't,
was more prepared than the first time, because I wasn't, because genuinely in myself, I thought surely it can't be as bad as the first time. But with HG, every pregnancy it gets worse every time, which
no,
I didn't realise until after I was pregnant. So I was prepared for it, and I knew that I'd have to have the blood thinners every day. But I didn't. I was like, surely it can't be as bad as when I had Penny. But it was
yeah.
worse. It was worse. Yeah.
And are you consultant led, like, through this
Yes. Yeah.
journey? Okay,
Yeah.
because that's something like, so. Do you? So you find out you're pregnant. You
Yeah.
obviously you know you have HG, whereas with with Penny you were fighting to get that
Yeah.
diagnosis.
Yeah.
But so with Lainey, you knew, you went to the doctors,
Yeah.
then they put you to the women's hospital, is it? Or
Yeah. And they were a lot more forward. So that they tried me on so many different medications this time.
okay,
I think none of them really worked until the very last one I went on, which was it's quite a new medication. It's called Zomvia. And
okay,
again, on the when I did that TikTok, a lot of the comments were try Zomvia. Zomvia saved me. So I think that new drug really does help a lot of people and does change a lot of people's pregnancies. For
oh wow.
me, it did for a while, but I just think everybody's body is different,
Yeah,
and it would it would work for a bit, and then I feel like my body would get used to it, and then it would stop working as much. So then I'd end up back in hospital again, and it was a cycle. And Lee used to say, he was like, it's just a cycle. He was like, you're fine. Like, the drug will start working. You'll have 2 weeks, you'll be back in again. Come
And
out,
how
2 weeks, back in again. And it was almost like you could time stamp it every 2 weeks. I'd be in.
really?
Yeah.
No, but and that is because I actually agree with that. With any condition, I do think your body gets used to the drug, and also what works for you could work for me. It's the body, so and I don't know if you found this, but I find it really, really draining having to trial different drugs.
Yeah, it was so hard, and it takes a while for your body to get used to different things, and putting that many different drugs into your body when you're already sensitive, you're already low on everything. It's really harsh on your system.
And also, you're not eating because most of them you have to try and eat, don't you, with medicines for your stomach, and so I mean, it sounds horrific, babe. Like, genuinely does.
It is. I mean, I'm trying to like laugh it off and stuff now, and I tried to not let it get to me, but it really was. It was just hell, and I really wanted to have a different pregnancy experience the second time round, because it sounds awful, but I just hated being pregnant. I hated it. And I thought, this time I'm in a very different situation in my life as well, you know.
Yeah.
I was with a really good partner, and I was, you know, in our own home, and I was close to all my family and friends, and I thought, this time's going to be so different. And it was in many ways, because the support I had was tenfold from the first time. But how debilitating it was exactly the same. And yeah, it's. I mean, I don't think I would have any more children, just on the base of like life choices. But if we're in a better position, and I would want more, the HG as a condition would stop me having any more now.
I was going to
Because of how
ask
it
that.
affects you towards the end and how it affected me in birth. It sounds very dramatic, but I've got 2 children to live for, and it was very touch and go when I had Lainey, you know, so.
Oh, Jess, I'm sorry, just getting well enough over here trying to the camera. But you don't think when you're gonna have a child that is what would. No one goes into birth thinking that.
No, you never. I mean, you never. You think some things could go wrong, and everyone expects a certain level of complications, but I personally never expected the things that happened.
No, and like, you're such a bubbly, outgoing, amazing person. Like, I'll always hands down say that about you. Like, you are, and I can imagine. Like we just said, we're very fortunate, me and you. We've got brilliant support networks, but it's very lonely when you're going through the condition.
Yeah, it is.
You can't move. You then get in your own head about things.
You do, and it's hard because, like I said, I mean, it was so hard being so poorly the second time round, because obviously I had Penny, and the mum guilt was just horrendous, because I couldn't do anything with her. I couldn't look after her properly, and I felt so fortunate in the fact of she was that bit older, and she's a very mature girl for her age. She was so understanding, because I was in hospital so much. She was so understanding, and luckily I've got like the best mom in the world. My mum is absolutely incredible. She is, and she had so much for me. And yeah, it was just really hard, because I felt so guilty because I couldn't be there for her. Like, I couldn't. Not even that I couldn't do things. I couldn't even see her, you know. And I didn't want her to have to come to the hospital to see me, because I don't think that's nice for children.
Yeah, it's like a trauma. You don't want her to.
Yeah, I didn't want to upset her more. I think seeing me like that, and you know, with all the candles and everything like that, it would have upset her. So it was really hard, and that was really emotional for me, because I missed her so much. I felt really guilty because I couldn't do all these different things with her. You know, I wasn't there for her like she needed me to be. So it was really hard the second time round, and I was grateful of her being a bit older and understanding. Whereas, you know, if she was a toddler, that would have been really, really hard for her to try and understand why I wasn't there.
And or being like, mummy's in hospital, but maybe you wouldn't tell her every time. And I think that being, I mean, we go to the same hospital. We've both been there. We're Midlands based. We won't name them, so we'll get cut out. But it's not the nicest thing going and staying in a hospital. And I feel like what you're explaining, like, you're living on edge all the time.
Yeah, it was. And it was hard, because every time Leah'd look at me and he'd go, "You're going to have to go in." I was like, I don't, because I know I'm not going to come out for like a good 3 or 4 days. and I knew it was going to be hell. And I'm a wimp. I hate needles. I hate injections. I hate blood.
Yeah.
And the amount, and I knew I'd have to go in and have a cannula, and you'd think you'd get used to it. The amount, the backs of my hands are like dot to dots,
Oh,
but
that.
I just never got used to it because I just hated it so much. So I just used to think like it used to stop me from wanting to go. I knew I'd have to go because I had to for Lainey to make sure she was okay in there. But I never, no, I just knew because it was like we said, we could have time stamped it. It was going to be the same thing every time.
And you knew. And
Yeah.
then I was about to say, as a question coming on from that, so you care for people and look after vulnerable people. What was it like having that role reverse and having people care for you?
It was hard because I don't, obviously, like I've had Penny since I was 24, so I've been a mom for such a long time now, and always, had to, be there. So not being able to do that for her and having to have everyone sort of like fuss around you, you
Yeah.
don't want, even though your family and your friends, they don't think of you as a burden, you just feel that in yourself, and you don't
Yeah.
want to keep putting on people. And so it was hard, and it was so hard with work because I couldn't work.
I was
And
going to ask, were they
yeah, I mean, I'd
understanding?
go, and obviously, like the type of work I'm in with special education, you can get hurt at times. So I was moved to a different class, but
Yeah.
then I felt useless to my work colleagues because I'd spend half the time in the toilet being sick, or I wasn't able to do the things I should have been able to do. So then I ended up having to have such a long time off work, which then impacted our family financially because you only get a certain amount of pay properly for so long.
And is
Yeah.
there no support? Is that something that you think should be changed with
Yeah,
HG?
I do think that there should be more support for people that have to have a certain amount of time off, because I got to a point where I'd had as much time as I could have had off without getting stat pay.
Yeah.
And anybody that's got a house knows that you can't run a house and pay for a house on life in general.
No.
And you could even buy a food shop with stat pay.
No, at all.
So then I had to force myself to go back, and it was really, really hard, and I just wasn't able to do anything. And luckily I had like people supporting me, and they were like, look, just take 5, just sit there, it's fine. So then I was going to work and not doing anything.
Yeah,
And
but
then
then
I felt like I wasn't supporting my colleagues properly, and I was more of a hindrance being there for people.
because as you just mentioned as well, it's not safe. My friend also works in special needs school as a TA, and for a lot of people don't understand. Obviously, children with autism things can get more physical because they can't relay their emotions
Yeah.
to you. I'm right in
Yeah.
saying, oh no,
Yeah, it's just the thing about communicating, and obviously it's like, it's just the frustration from not being able to speak sometimes.
yes,
Yeah.
and it can come out physical, but it's obviously a health risk.
Yeah.
For you carrying a child, and so same as her, she's been moved, but she says, I don't know if you grow attached to your class, don't
Oh,
you?
you do. I mean, you love them all to bits because you spend so much time with them. Yeah.
And you're looking at, so I bet that was a really hard adjustment to move.
Yeah, it was.
Classes.
Yeah, and it was hard because there's especially with autism and things, there's some children can form a connection with you and they respond better to you than others, and it was hard because there was some children that needed me and I couldn't be there for them, so that was really hard.
Oh, Jess, that's beautiful how you've worded that though, like, because like I said, they needed you, but at that time you needed other people and needed to rest, and I think that's such an important thing. And I'm going to go to these are quite deep questions, but I feel like you'll get them. But what do you wish, like, your friends, family, employers, healthcare professionals understood about this condition more?
I think it's just of how serious it actually is. Like, it's not just morning sickness, it's not just pregnancy sickness. Like, a few times when I went into hospital, my first pregnancy, there was a couple of midwives that were looking after me, and they'd come in and they'd go, oh, you in because you've been a bit sick today, do you? And I just felt really patronised. I was like, I can cope with feeling a bit sick. Like, I wouldn't be in here. Nobody wants to go to hospital and stay in hospital. I wouldn't be in here if I just felt a bit sick. Like,
read the room, love. Sorry.
Yeah,
but
just the impact it has on people's lives and people's mental health. Like, I'm not saying I'm a really mentally strong person, like, because sometimes I'm not, But
Me too.
there's people that, you know, like the stories when I said the comments I had off other women who'd been going through the same thing. You know, some people have taken their life because of it, because they couldn't bear the thought of not
Another
carrying on
day.
with their pregnancy, but they couldn't cope with how ill and how much it debilitated them and drained them mentally. So it is a very serious thing.
It is, and I think, for me personally, I think there needs to be more awareness. I think there should be more support, like financially, like you just mentioned. And I think you're the person to do that. Like, you should do it, Jess. Come on, mate. But joking aside, someone who's listening to this will actually, I've taken so much away. I didn't even know that you could get blood clots because of it. But it makes
Yeah.
sense. You're not moving. And there's not actually a cure, is there, babe? Like,
No, there's no cure. There's just things to help. Like the Zombio has been like the newest drug that I'm aware of that's been helping people. But there is no cure. It's, you know, I was talking to one of my friends the other day who suffers really bad with sickness, and she wants another child, and she was like, I'm just so scared about the sickness, and she said, I just know that if I want another baby, I've just got to have to deal with it, because there's nothing you can do about it.
But imagine going into a pregnancy which is meant to be, it's celebrated this perfect, it is, it's like a perfect pregnancy.
Yeah.
Like everyone, you have this idolisation, don't you? Everyone
Yeah.
just like, you want it to be perfect, smooth, everything. But then you're going into that knowing that you're going to be like basically disabled in a way. It's disabling. I don't care.
It's crazy because this time round, I was in hospital 2 days before my baby shower, so I didn't think I was going to make it. And with Penny, I broke myself out for a few hours to go to my baby shower.
Oh
Yeah.
my dedication,
I would never been able to go to it because it was all organised with Penny. And I was sitting in hospital, and I was like, "This might be the only baby I ever have. This might be the only baby shower I ever have. I'm going." I went out. I asked, and that's how I broke out. But I said, can I go? I'll be back in about 4 hours," and they did let me go.
Which is a but look, I mean, I know you're saying, I think you just said that you're not the most mentally strong person. I actually disagree. For everything that you've been through, babe, I think you are one of the most mentally strong people. So I think you should reword that all the time because you're amazing.
Thank you.
This is a really cute question, actually. If your daughters were listening to the podcast when they're a bit older, what would you want them to know about your journey of you becoming their mom? That's so cute.
They've just changed. They've totally changed my life, and that sounds a really cliche thing to say, but they have in every way. Like, especially how the place I was in mentally when I was pregnant with Penny and before I had Penny. Like, Penny really, it sounds dramatic, but she saved me. Like, she really did save me from myself and from a lot of things that were going on personally in my life at that time. And she, until I had Danny, she was just my reason for everything. Like, the reason that when things get hard, you think, oh, I can't be bothered, or this is hard, or whatever. And now with Lainey, and like I say, my partner says it, like, she saves everybody. Like, whenever there's been like a family crisis recently, or there's been people that are going through things and are really upset, like, she just seems to, she just brings light into it all, and they just change everything. So becoming their mom has been the best thing that ever happened to me, honestly.
I need a minute. I'm going to cut that some back. And honestly, seeing you as a mom, also, Jess's little girls are the most smiley, happiest little. I know, I'm sure they're not like it all the time. I know that.
Moments. They have moments. Penny can be very sassy sometimes, and Lainey's just finding her voice at the minute, so she just loves to just shout all the time.
Look, say, "Hey, Mom, Dad, I'm here," and you've got
just
such an
she's
amazing.
very much there.
Yeah, well, where'd she get that from, Jess? How?
I don't know, because I'm like a quiet wallflower, so.
Yeah, of course you are. Not. And there's a final question. After everything you've been through, you've overcome so much. I think you've been amazing. What does being a mom look like for you now, like on a day-to-day basis, if that makes sense?
I mean, it's leaps and bounds compared to being a mum while I was pregnant with that condition.
Isn't it?
And if anything, it just makes me value my time with them more now. Like, because when I was pregnant with Lainey and I had so much time stolen between me and Penny, I just do everything I can now to to make up that time and just do as much as I can with them, you know. And again, it sounds a cliche thing, but it really makes you appreciate your life and appreciate your time with them. And when everything that happened with Lainey at the end, like, it was so traumatic, and it was like you see on the telly where they press that like massive button and all these people run in. That's pretty much what it was like. And there was all manner of, you know, medical people doing lots of different things.
Oh my
And there was
God.
a midwife next to me, and again, it sounds dramatic, but I kept looking at her. I was going, I've got 2 kids. Please don't let me die. Please don't let me die.
Yeah.
So, like, I think back to that a lot, and I'm just so grateful, and I just take all of it in every day with them. Yeah.
And do you think it's really made you appreciate the little things in life?
Definitely, 100%.
Like just going for a coffee or going
Just
for
going for a coffee, yeah. Anything, yeah.
And I think that's a big like consensus with chronic illness, like with anyone, because I do think whether you get better or you don't, I do think it teaches you something that, like you said earlier, not everyone can understand, and we're not faulting people for that.
No.
They can't understand what you don't know, but I really do think it makes you appreciate like to be honest, like what you've just said, you were nearly like touching death, and now you just love being with your little girls. Like, I think that's such an important thing.
You just have to sort of brush away all the things that make your day could be bad, like if you've had a flat tire, or you're late to work, or, you know, someone's pissed you off when you've gone to Tesco, like anything like that. You just, you know, you just have to think life's precious. And again, it's like, it sounds like a cliche, cheesy thing, but it's true.
No,
it really
I really
is.
agree.
You have to take it in and just not sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, and if there's one thing you'd like people to take away from this podcast listening to you, what would it be?
It would be that if you are experiencing HG, don't be afraid to say how you're feeling to your friends and your family. Like, you're not a burden. They're not going to think any less of you. You don't have to suffer in silence and go through all your emotions yourself. Like, speak to the people that you love, because they want to be there for you.
Jess, that is a perfect. I love that. And if people do want to follow your story and things, I can follow you on social media, which I'll tag in the if you're listening. But I just want to say it's been such a hard listen, actually, Jess, because I didn't know all these things, and to hear what you've been through. But you are so strong. You're still smiling. She looks beautiful. If you're watching her on YouTube, she looks insane. And thank you so much for being on here. I've really enjoyed having you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have been Simone. That has been the beautiful Jess, and you've been listening to Cool and Chronic. Thank you.